with a major injury update for the Edmonton Oilers surrounding Viktor Arvidsson as the Oilers continue their three-game homestand against the St. Louis Blues tonight with the return of Philip Broberg in Dylan Holloway, while Kasperi Kapanen takes on his former team. But if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you're part of the 82% that haven't subscribed already, what are you waiting for? For any and all Oiler news, Oilers Digest is the place to be. But without further ado, an RV update. Yes, we have good and bad news surrounding Viktor Arvidsson, one of the newest acquisitions for the Edmonton Oilers, picked up over the summer. Of course, him and Mattias Ekholm were named to Sweden's initial Four Nations face-off roster, so it's always good news for Arvidsson to represent his country on the international stage. But when it comes to a return for the Edmonton Oilers, Kris Knoblauch of the Edmonton Oilers, the head coach, still has no idea when that return date is going to be. He says, "I don't have a timeline. It's obviously gone on longer than we anticipated. Thought it was just a couple days off, rest, get back, and it hasn't quite healed the same way we assumed it would have. So right now, I don't have a timeline for you, of course." Viktor Arvidsson has been out since after the November 12th game against the New York Islanders when he sustained an undisclosed injury. Of course, the Oilers haven't specified whether it's upper or lower body. Of course, last year with the LA Kings, he had issues with his back, so who knows, it might be that again. But again, we are still not sure. And of course, when it comes to Viktor Arvidsson, the Oilers management probably, expected something like this to happen where he wouldn't play a full season. As you can see there in the NHL, he's only played 60 games more than once. And like I said last year with the LA Kings, only 18 regular season games played, but still almost a point per game with 15 points. But this year gone off to a bit of a slower start, even next to Leon Draisaitl with only 5 points in 16 games. But it should be not an injury for Viktor Arvidsson to rush back from. Of course, Kris Knoblauch, after the Islanders game, he said if it was the playoffs, Arvidsson would play, but it's the regular season. It's a long haul, it's a jaunt, so you just wait for him to rest up and get healthy. And of course, in the summer, like I said, many were concerned about the injury history. From this one scouting report here, it says the one thing that could be concerning about Arvidsson is injury. If not major injury, then the time he may miss to minor injuries. Arvidsson has lost significant time to relatively minor injuries in his last 5 seasons. In the last season, he only played 18 games. Arvidsson's injury page is riddled with lower body and back injuries. It would not be unreasonable to count him out for 15 games this season, and he's only missed 10 so far, dating back to after November 12th against the New York Islanders. I do believe he also missed another home game against the Nashville Predators before they went on their Eastern road swing. But like I said, it's not an injury the Oilers should rush him back from. Of course, they did pick up Kasperi Kapanen off waivers. They sort of tried to fill the gap when it comes to, making sure they have a next man up mentality. When, another guy like Zach Hyman, when he went down, they made sure they had enough people to fill those spots. You can see there another injury in 2021 with the Nashville Predators, upper body, and lower body with the LA Kings. So like I said, lots of injury history. But with no Arvidsson in the lineup, again, this is what it looks like. The only change coming into tonight's game is a change in goal, with Stuart Skinner getting the start after Calvin Pickard got the win the other night. Of course, Nugent-Hopkins, McDavid, and Hyman, Podkolzin, Draisaitl, Kapanen, and Mattias Janmark, Adam Henrique, and Jeff Skinner. In my opinion, I think they should have swapped Kapanen and Skinner, but it could look a whole lot worse with the fourth line having a really good game again the other night with Perry, Ryan, and Brown on the back end, Mattias Ekholm and Evan Bouchard, Darnell Nurse and Troy Stetcher, and Brett Kulak and Ty Emberson. And Kasperi Kapanen, this is his first game against his old team, the St. Louis Blues, and he was asked this morning about it. He said, "It's been a couple of weeks since I last saw them, so I'm excited to play against these guys. Just try to keep control of my emotions, but I don't think that'll be a problem. Like I said, it'll be more fun than anything, and we'll try to beat these guys today." And, Kris Knoblauch, very happy about the play from Kasperi Kapanen. He said, "You never know what to expect from a player picked up off of waivers, and we looked at him before and had some interest in him coming in. We were missing Zach at the time and Arvidsson, and we really depleted on the right side, and we needed some reinforcements for him to come in. I think he's played really well at 5-on-5. What he gives us is a little more speed, a little more physicality, but also a little more depth on the penalty kill. We're missing Arvidsson, so it allows him to play some minutes there, but we've been very happy with his game." And of course, not a whole lot to complain about Kasperi Kapanen, and analytically, he seems to be, sort of holding his own for the most part there. Corsi-wise, the goals for and goals against percentage could use a little work, but again, a speed speedster like that is what the Oilers have been needing. And like I said, if you swap him and Jeff Skinner, I'll put Skinner on that second line. That gives the bottom six a little more speed to work with the, of course, the absence of Dylan Holloway, who they lost over the summer. And heading into this one against the St. Louis Blues, of course, very similar statistics when it comes to these two teams. The last 10 games record is the exact same, 6-3-1 for both teams. The St. Louis Blues with a 13-12-2 record, and heading into tonight's game with a 2-game win streak. Of course, goals for goals against, very similar for the teams. The power play, very similar for both teams. The penalty kill, that's, a little bit of a difference there, almost 80% for the St. Louis Blues, while the Oilers have been trending upwards dramatically over the past few games. I do believe they've killed their last 23 penalties out of 24. And of course, the Blues are not exactly a very offensive team this year. Of course, averaging almost 27 shots per game, while the Oilers, I do believe, are top of the league in average shots per game with 33. And team save percentage very similar. Corsi 4. Oilers all over the board on that one. Of course, analytically, tremendous team so far this season, but of course hasn't really shown up on the standings. You can't win games on paper. You actually have to play them on the ice. I know it blows my mind as well with the expected goals for percentage. Again, the Oilers with 54% compared to the St. Louis Blues 46. And let's take a look into the St. Louis Blues with Blues clues. Yes, the St. Louis Blues did fire Drew Bannister, I do believe 2 weeks ago, when they were on their, Eastern New York road swing. They left Drew Bannister on Long Island, and then they carried it into Manhattan and beat the Rangers 5-2, rolled into Newark, beat the Devils 3-0, lost to Philadelphia 3-2 in overtime, beat the Jets at home, one of the toughest places to play in the National Hockey League, and a bit of a controversial win against the Calgary Flames on Thursday night, winning that one 4-3. After, pushing the pad into the net. I mean, even against the Calgary Flames, I think the Calgary Flames, got a little bit job there, but I'm not going to admit that. But the St. Louis Blues, of course, only losing once in overtime with the newest addition behind the bench, Jim Montgomery. So yet to lose in regulation with Monty behind the bench after he was fired by the Boston Bruins. So a bit of a new coach bump, the cliche when it comes to that. Just take a look at the forwards here. First line, former Edmonton Oil King Jake Neighbors, centered by Robert Thomas and Pavel Buchnevich, who was, named in various trade rumors last year with the Edmonton Oilers. Of course, there was a proposed Buchnevich trade, and the Blues asked for Philip Broberg. The Oilers said no, but the Blues ended up getting Philip Broberg anyway. And then again, former Edmonton Oiler Dylan Holloway, centered by Braden Shen and Jordan Kyrou, Brennan Saad, Oscar Sundqvist, and Zach Bolduc, and Alexei Toropchenko, Radek Faksa, and another former Oiler, Nathan Walker, who played, I believe, 2 games with the Oilers about 6 years ago, but still a former Oiler nonetheless. And see there, Dylan Holloway benefiting the most from this new coach bump with, I do believe, 8 points in his last 5 games. So again, the new coach bump for the St. Louis Blues, and it's rubbing off on the players. You can see there with, Dylan Holloway, 4 goals in his last 5 games. So, that's something the Oilers desperately needed, a finisher, and they let him go for a measly draft pick. And on the back end, Philip Broberg, again, missing the 8 from his 6, wearing number 6 for the St. Louis Blues. Colton Parayko, who somehow made Team Canada for the Four Nations faceoff. Ryan Suter, Matthew Kessel, Justin Falk, and Scott Perunovich. And while St. Louis is scoring almost half a goal more game per 60 minutes at 5-on-5 under Jim Montgomery compared to Drew Bannister, goaltending has been the real difference maker. The Blues still rank among the bottom 10 teams in shots and expected goals against, but Jordan Binnington and Joel Hofer have made up for it, with Jordan Binnington getting the start tonight against the Edmonton Oilers. You can see there 8 wins in 20 games with a goals against average of 2.87 and an even 900 for save percentage so far for him this year. And Jordan Binnington coming into tonight's game with a 6-2-1 record in 10 games with goals against average of 2.77 and a save percentage of 906 against the Oilers in his career. Of course, the first start against the Oilers came in that cup winning season for the Blues, and he seemed to have their number ever since, except for April Fool's Day in 2022, when the Oilers managed to chase him after almost a full period of play. But that's it for today's recap. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Are you worried about Viktor Arvidsson at all? And what do you think the reaction is going to be for Broberg and Dylan Holloway at Rogers Place tonight? Are they going to be booed? Are they going to be cheered? Are they not going to really get anything at all from the Rogers Place crowd? Let me know down in the comments. Let me know down in the comments. Pardon me. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And folks, have yourselves a fantastic Saturday and enjoy the game tonight. Let's go Oilers. Take care.